start off with just asking how you guys doing?
Well, it's up and down. We're still, just kind of confused and kind of feel...
It's like I feel like I could pick up my phone and call Shanann and talk about how sad I am, and it just doesn't, it doesn't feel real.
Last time we talked about, they were more than friends. At this point, they were like family.
Yeah.
Yeah, at times they were.
Yeah.
It's just, it's still just not real. Like seeing the press conferences and stuff like that. It almost seems removed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the person they're talking about isn't somebody we know.
Right.
Yeah.
To be honest,
different.
To be honest, isn't it kind of somebody you didn't know, though?
Right. That's what we learned. We thought we knew him. Didn't think he was ever capable of doing anything like this. There was no, at any of our times of hanging out, there was no signs of that he was ever capable of doing something like this. And I think Amanda and I latched onto that, and that's why we were kind of there for him. And it's just we couldn't see that to be a possibility.
Last time I talked to you guys, you were really leading search efforts online. You were doing everything you can to find Shanann and her daughters. What was it like when you heard the sad outcome?
Honestly, I didn't believe it. You hear all the time that news is wrong, they don't have the correct information, and it wasn't until the detective called me, right as the conference was going on, and asked me to come pick up Dieter, that it hit. And then I just broke down from there. So
yeah.
What's the dog's name?
Dieter.
What kind of dog?
He's a little wiener dog, little Dachshund, I guess. Super cute, very friendly. Mm-hmm. He loves to give kisses.
Why did they ask you guys to take the dog?
So I'm not sure. I know Amanda reached out last night because we were concerned. Obviously Chris is still at the police station. He was at our house all night last night. That dog needs cared for. So Amanda just reached out and said, hey, is somebody doing this, or can we go get them? But that was just a voicemail. When I spoke to Shanann's mom this morning, she told me that she told the FBI to call us to get them. So I'm not sure really what drove it. Somewhere they got our name to say, hey, come. The family's trusting you, I guess, to care for their dog.
Aside from the dog, you didn't just let the dog into your house. You let Chris into your house, too. Yeah. After the fact of everything happened, you have a little girl that's Bella and Celeste's age. In hindsight, what's going through your mind?
That...
Regret.
That's something I'll never forget, that we allowed this guy in our house. Had we had any inclination that we thought he was involved at all, no way would I have let him in my house with my wife and kid. So
he slept right across the hall from her.
Right. She came in that morning and we saw it was I saw Mr. Chris, because their doors are right by each other. And so that I'm never going to forget. It's just a haunting memory now at this point. Yeah. No way did we know he could have been capable of something like this.
On the phone, Amanda, you told me repeatedly, or you told me that you kept replaying the conversation from the past few days over and over in your head. Why are you doing
honestly, just, I mean, I'm just beating myself up about it. Like, oh, he said this or he said that. Like, I should have known that that was a flag, but it
Or
just,
was it a flag? Or,
or
you know
was
what I
it
mean? Like,
yeah.
questioning just every little thing that we did with him. Yeah.
What were those conversations, if you don't mind me asking? What were some of the things you are questioning of? Was that a sign?
Well, there's a few things that we talked to the detective about. We're not sure if it's a part of the investigation, so that's...
We don't want to get too specific.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that. But, I mean, just little things here and there, like watching him on his phone and pacing the house and eating the pizza, even. Like, he showed zero remorse. Like, there was no doubt in our minds that he was innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, while we were with Chris on Monday and Tuesday, it was more on Tuesday though. I mean, our conversations were kind of far in between. Like, it was a lot more of silence. Amanda and I are on our phones just trying to come up with any sort of idea of like, what about this? What about, you know what I mean? Just trying to think through everything. And through those just little things, you know, a few things came up that we thought, well, that's weird that you're not wanting to look more into that. Like, that seems like big deals. And as soon as we left the house, we called the detective. And we're just like, we don't know if this is something. It might be something, but we feel like we need to say something. I mean, again, it was a voicemail. We didn't talk to anybody. So, I mean...
I did speak to the FBI about it.
Yeah,
when he interviewed me too,
so
just to make sure they were aware.
Yep, same here.
Something that's come up for me, I don't know if it's come up for you. Do you have a hard time trusting people right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit. Just you kind of lose faith in humanity, like not wanting to be close to anybody. Has been really hard. I mean, we thought we knew him, and obviously we didn't. So,
you know, when you go online though and you look at their pictures, that's what we kind of did with Shanann's Facebook page. They look very in love. You know, they seem like a very in love kind of couple, at least on social media. You know, is that what you saw in real life too, or did you see anything else?
No, that's exactly how they were around us. I mean, it was always hands all over, you know, one another, and it was always fun, laughing. So yeah, I mean, there was not once when we hung out with them was it like, you know what I mean? There was nothing.
No aggression, no anger, no like snarky side comments, nothing like that. Like, it was fun and easy.
Lighthearted. I mean, like, even if Chris did something a little, like, prepare something for food wrong, it was more, like, poke fun at him. Like,
right.
It was never, I mean, they just seemed, like a happy couple.
You know, what's weird is I find myself smiling and laughing as I talk about your memories.
Yeah.
The person you thought you knew way back when. And to you, that is still Chris. That's this person out here that's now that we know and we see in the news. That's not the Chris you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it seems like it's two completely different people at this point. Like, yeah. It's just hard, you know, like, just being with him and seeing how he was. Like, he never once, like, broke down crying or like, you know, I just feel, I don't know, like, it's just weird. Like, I feel like if we had went out to his house and he turned us away and shut us out, then we'd been like, oh, this is weird. But he welcomed us in just like normal. Like, it was another day with Chris. I mean, just on his phone trying to figure out what to do, and, you know, just trying to manage conversations through, you know, everyone out of town. And everything was normal, other than him being, you could tell he was it seemed like...
He seemed distressed.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was guilt.
Maybe, yeah.
Instead of worry.
Did they never talk to you guys about maybe marital problems or anything like that, or like, hey, we had this argument, or?
I mean, Shanann and I spoke very frequently, and we discussed things about their marriage, and I discussed things about our marriage. Like, it was just the normal, married couple
ups and downs
that we have. It was never anything where I thought she was scared or terrified, or no matter what she said, she just talked about how much she loved him and how he was her rock.
So obviously a lot of information is coming out about Chris and sometimes Shanann now. We learned that back in 2015 they filed for bankruptcy. Did you guys know that? Did y'all ever talk financial stuff?
I mean, I was never a part of anything.
Shanann and I had discussed it, but it was never, it was so long ago that, it was like she would bring it up that we had to file bankruptcy and all of that other stuff, but it kind of ended there. It wasn't like currently we're having problems.
We heard from I believe it was a family member back in North Carolina that told us that Shanann had lupus. Did you guys ever hear, or did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. She did have lupus?
Yes.
Yeah, it's something she struggled with for a while, but since we've met her, it's mostly been under control.
Yeah, she had her rough days for sure, just with any health condition, but for the most part, she really had it under control, and she was thriving in her life. She wasn't down on herself saying, "Hey, I have this illness in my life. I'm gonna moan and groan about it." She was like, "I want to live my life to the fullest," and that's exactly what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then she worked for something called Pride.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I'll pretend that wasn't a shameless plug.
Yeah.
I know that recently, speaking of Thrive, Chris has started using the patch or the supplement, right? He actually lost quite a bit of weight with it.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice any change in his personality after he started doing that, or?
No, I mean, by the time we kind of met with Chris, he was already pretty well into his he was already lost a bunch of the weight, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we never saw him in his bigger days, you know what I mean? So for us, I mean, it was always Chris. I mean, there was nothing, it was always him.
He did, he lost a little bit of weight, well, a lot of bit of weight, after we met him, just because him and Nick started running together and all of that stuff, but that was, I don't know.
Next question, I'm not going to lie. It's a question I don't want to ask. It's something I have to. They never talked to you guys about relationship troubles. None of them were having an affair. There wasn't a mistress, anything like that.
No.
I mean, Chris and I never talked about that kind of stuff anyways, so, yeah.
Shanann had jokingly mentioned it, but honestly, she wasn't worried. But when your husband doesn't answer your text messages as a woman, your thought process just goes to the wrong things. So
that's what happens. Sometimes she texts and you wouldn't text back.
I mean that's just an example of something, but that was pretty much the extent of what we were doing, of what she talked about. No, it was never a serious concern of hers.
Amanda, this next one's for you, kind of specifically, because I've been following you on Facebook, and you're posting a lot of really cute pictures of you and the girls, or videos of the girls. Gosh, this kind of the way you're grieving, is just going through pictures and...
Yeah. I had so many good times with them. God, her daughter just loved them so much. I guess that's my way of grieving.
Hey, get out from behind them, bro. They're trying to take pictures. Come on. Come this way. You're welcome.
What's up, dude? How's it going?
Kyle.
Good.
Hey, have a good day.
Dude, you're better than I am. I can do that. I don't know if I can ride a bike anymore. No. Enjoy your day, man.
Why do you think
I'm sure you guys get that a lot.
I'm sorry.
No.
We chose a park.
Yeah.
Usually in downtown Denver, not at a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Right.
that's better. But yeah, so you're going through, all these pictures. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because, like, if I didn't know, if I just saw this for the first time, I might think they're your kids.
Yeah, I mean, they did look a lot like Amelie. The blonde hair and just beautiful. But yeah, we spent a lot of time together. It was a short amount of time that we knew them, but it was amazing.
Speaking of your daughter, this is really one of my last few questions I have. She's going to have to learn this sometime.
I know.
Where do you begin?
We have no idea. Like, I just looked at, like, while I was giving her a bath this morning and taking her to school, I just kept looking at her like, how do I tell you that your best friend's gone? Like, I don't know. Like, she knows, like, we talked to her a little bit, like, Miss Shanann and the girls, they're people are looking for him. We can't find him, so she kind of knows a little bit about that. But I have no idea. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, right now, I think we're just really focused on processing it ourselves. But I mean, our faces are all over the community, and somebody's going to tell her, and she needs to hear it from us. So
Yeah.
we'll. That's a good question. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
She's 5.
She's
5. I mean, how do you explain to a 5-year-old about any death, let alone somebody she knows and loves and
asks about all the time.
Yeah.
My last question, the way I described it when I was trying to explain, who you are to these people, because you understand this is a gut punch for them.
Yeah.
They didn't just lose their friend; they found out their other friend could be responsible.
Yeah.
Is it just like that? I mean, how much worse does that make it? You lost Shanann. You lost these beautiful little girls, and then.
I mean, Shanann and the girls are the hardest part of it all. I mean, we really thought Monday night when we kind of learned about all this going on and we were with Chris, we kind of thought, we'll see her tomorrow. We're going to be with the girls tomorrow. So I guess I haven't even processed the idea of, like, our friendship with Chris is no longer.
He's kind of like a side thought, I guess. Like, I see his picture on Facebook and I just get really mad.
Especially his, like, mugshot. Like, even in that, he doesn't seem sad. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm looking from the outside in, but just seeing his mugshot, and I'm just like, who are you? Like, that's not the Chris we thought we knew. And
Shanann and those girls and baby Nico just...
Wait, the baby had a name?
we found that out from Shanann's brother. He posted a Facebook post, and I guess
they're having a little boy.
Yeah.
named Nico. No sleep.
No.
You think you'll ever sleep again?
I'm sure it'll come, but right now it's rough. It's kind of hard for me to be in our house knowing he was there, knowing, you know what I mean? Like we weren't shy that we were kind of there with Chris, trying to be some sort of support for him, just thinking, I mean, in our mind, we had no reason to believe that he could do anything, so that's why we were there for him. But man, bluntly, I just feel so stupid and so betrayed. It's just unreal. Like,
we even offered our house to him when we weren't there.
Yeah, like he when he left to go pick up his dad from the airport, I gave him our garage code and was just like, you guys are welcome here if you need a place to be. We had no idea that what he had done, or yeah.
And I just remembered you were supposed to watch the girls this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were gonna come over and spend the weekend with Amelie. I was excited to. That would have been Amelie's first sleepover.
If you're not sleeping, what are you
doing? Laying there?
Yeah, thinking.
And that's what I'm doing. Just kind of like what Amanda was saying. Kind of going back through the past few days with Chris and think like, were there things that he was doing that we should have been more apparent of? But we just thought we were doing the right thing by being by his side because we knew kind of no one else was going to be, and at the time for no kind of good reason.
I think I got everything. I just want to make sure that. I think we got everything.
Okay.
I don't want to keep.
We contemplated a lot this morning because we knew we were going to get kind of bombarded with calls for media, and we contemplated not doing it, but then we were just like, really, we want people to know. We honestly had no idea, and when I talked to Shanann's mom this morning, I apologized. I'm so sorry, like, we didn't know, like, we thought we were doing the right thing, and I'm so sorry that, for the perspective you have of us now, like, and the best thing that came out of it was, I don't know if it was, I think I was on speakerphone, so it was either her or somebody else, and they were like, we get it, and we don't hold it against you. And that was a really big relief, knowing, as of right now, I don't know, that's all I can do is say we're sorry that we defended him on social media. We really had no idea that he was capable of doing something like I hate it. I hate all of this.
You guys aren't bad people. Not at all. Not from at all what I can tell. And I'm getting better at that. I think. So you did talk to the family though?
So Shanann's mom called me this morning to make sure we had Dieter, and to make sure she wanted our word that we were going to take good care of him because Dieter's the last thing they have, and they want to take him home, and so I did. He's part of our family right now. He's going to be taken care of, and I told her, like, at any point if they come out, they want to see Dieter, like, let us know. We'll drop everything. We'll come get him, like, whatever they need. But that's when I decided, like, I need to apologize. Like, I can't imagine what you think of Amanda and I, and I'm so sorry. So
just know how much we loved Shanann and Bella and Cece. They were family. They spent Thanksgivings with us and 4th of July's and all the holidays.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
May I ask you one question?
Sure.
The Botox, sometimes you take a few.
No, yeah.
That's okay.
3 questions I had were, when he lost weight, did you see any change in his confidence levels, like feeling better about himself? And you can look at Jordan.
No, I mean, the only kind of difference I saw change in confidence was with his running ability. I had been running for quite a bit more time than he was, and he was just getting into it. So, I would text him, "Hey, I'm going to go for a 7-mile run," and then he, after that, he would be like, "Yeah, I just ran 7 miles," or "Yeah, I mean that," but not like personality, like out in the world. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like he was. Yeah, that part didn't change. It was always shy Chris. So.
And then as a woman, when we've heard the news, like he confessed, I was with a reporter and I was like, my fear is I'm going to marry a guy like that, And so my question as an outsider is, when you see them together, are you like, oh, couple goals, relationship goals? Do you get that vibe when you looked at them?
For sure.
Yeah. They were so happy. They went on getaways all the time. Just them two alone together. They, like Nick mentioned before, they were always hugging or holding hands or kissing, and they had the perfect family.
It seemed.
Obviously not.
My last question, the first thing I want to know is, do you think that baby Nico was planned?
He was, actually. Nick and I had been talking about having a second child for quite some time, and Shan was always, on our side, pressuring Nick, and just really supportive of it. And then Shanann and I were going to get our nails done or something one day, and she told me that Chris that night before told her he wanted another child, and she was all on board, and we talked about being pregnant together and going through all the ups and downs of pregnancy, and having our babies be best friends. So yes, her pregnancy was planned.
You can just give a one-word answer on this next one, just to dispel what we see on social media, because, warning, don't look on social media.
I know.
But a big question is, was the baby his?
Yes, 100%. There's no doubt about it.
I'm sorry to ask that.
No.
We get it. So much stuff comes out on social media. Apparently Amanda was having an affair with Chris. We learned that today on social media.
Yeah, I learned that
Come
today.
on, so we get it.
Rumors go around, but they're not true. I should have known she didn't take her phone with her.
That should have been it.
So she was always on the phone?
Always.
I have so many pictures of her on her phone.
we would spend, a lot of our weekend nights at their house, having dinner and stuff, playing Uno, and every time it came to Shanann's turn, we'd be like, "Hey, pay attention!"
Right, it's your turn. Let's go.
Let's go.
Do you have a social media of choice, like Insta or Facebook?
Facebook,
Facebook.
for sure.
Her whole business ran through
social
media. So that's what she was doing.
I'm just jumping on this story. Did we talk about yesterday about her personality and the awesome things about her? Did Jordan get to even ask?
We talked a little bit about the girls for sure. I can't remember if we talked about Shanann though. But Shanann, she was a leader, and she was always there to help. Give my wife advice whenever. just randomly text, "I love you, hope you're having a good day." I mean, she was a people person, and people were drawn to her. And I think that's why, I mean, we say we're close friends with her, but we're not the only close friends to her. She has close friends all over the state, because everyone feels this really drawn bond with her because of who she is. She loves people and loves helping people, and she just wanted the best. I mean, and if she could somehow give advice on how to do it, or even be there helping us do it, she was there. So
she was amazing. There's nobody in the world like Shanann Watts.
To move a lot of things out of that house. I think we might even have someone on the phone right now named, I'm not sure if I can mention this person's name. Can the producers tell me if we're, okay, I can at least call the next guest I'm getting, Susan. Susan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is all sort of breaking as we're live, going to live in the last 5 minutes of this program. Can you let me know, are you the person who witnessed this, this truck outside of the Watts home?
Yes, I did. I just happened to be driving that route and saw the leaving truck out in front of the house.
What else did you see? I mean, there's a couple of things I've just reported in terms of Shanann Watts' father, Frank Rusick Sr., moving a bed frame and what appeared to be a mirror. Did you see anything else being moved out?
No, those were actually the two things that I witnessed. I did notice that each time they loaded something, they did close the back of the moving truck. So that kind of caught my eye. But for the most part, I was just driving by, and Frank turned around and looked at me as he was going up the ramp to load the item onto the truck.
And do you actually know Frank Rusick Sr., Shanann's father?
No, I've only seen pictures of him. That's where I instantly recognized him.
Did you recognize the woman, the 30-year-old-ish woman who was with him?
No, I didn't. I didn't know it. There were several other vehicles parked in front of the house or in close proximity, so I didn't know if maybe it was friends. They all had Colorado plates.
They all had Colorado plates, several other vehicles. Did you notice other people other than those two who you identify as Frank Rusick Sr., Shanann's father, and an unidentified woman in her 30s with brown hair? Did you notice anybody else helping in this process?
No, those were the only two people.
All right. And how many vehicles did you see in addition to the moving truck?
There were, and some of them could have been for neighbors, but right in front of the house, there were two. I know one was a Ford SUV, and I can't recall what the other one was. Right.
Was the garage door open in the home at the time you drove by?
No, it was closed. They appeared to be moving things out the front door.
So the front door was wide open as you went by?
Yes.
And then were you able to see if there was perhaps a Lexus? Because Shanann used to drive a Lexus, and at the time of the, I guess the offings of the crime, at the genesis of this being a crime scene, Nicole Atkinson, a friend of Shanann, said she saw Shanann's Lexus inside the garage with the car seats inside, and I'm just wondering if it's still there.
That I wouldn't know. I definitely, this truck is so big, it literally blocks the entire front of the house and the driveway. But when I was returning and driving in the other direction, I did not see any vehicles parked in the driveway, and the garage was definitely shut.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who are not present in the courtroom today, I want to take a minute to summarize the nature of the proceedings at our status conference on People versus Christopher Watts this afternoon. Mr. Watts entered a plea of guilty to all 9 counts in the original complaint and information. Those counts include murder in the first degree after deliberation as to Shanann Watts, murder in the first degree as to Bella Watts, murder in the first degree as to Celeste Watts, unlawful termination of a pregnancy as it relates to Nico Watts, and 3 counts of unlawful tampering with a deceased human body. There was a sentencing agreement that calls for the defendant to be sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the remainder of his natural life as to counts 1, 2, and 3. All of those sentences will run consecutively to one another. There's also an agreement that whatever sentence the court imposes as to count 6 will also run consecutively to counts 1 through 3. The remainder of the sentencing will be left to the discretion of the court. That sentencing will occur November 19th at 10 o'clock in the morning. The final piece of the sentencing agreement calls for the district attorney's office, myself, to agree that as a result of his plea of guilty, that he will not face the death penalty. I know that there are going to be a lot of questions about that, so let me address that right up front. Present here in the room with us today is Frank Rusick, Sandra Rusick, and Frank Rusick Jr., Shanann's brother, mom and dad. Mr. Wren and I flew out to North Carolina about 3 weeks ago and spent quite a bit of time with the Rusick family talking about the state of the death penalty in Colorado, the realities of the death penalty. We explained to them the extraordinary delays that currently exist in the state of Colorado as the result of, in part, the actions of our current governor. We discussed the fact that an individual by the name of Nathan Dunlap was convicted and sentenced to death in 1996 and is still alive today. We discussed all of the possible consequences, delays, penalties, timeframes, and I hope I'm saying this accurately. I know they'll correct me if I am wrong, but they were very strongly in favor of a resolution in this case short of the death penalty. That, to me, was the most important consideration in deciding how to proceed with this case. However, as they know, after we had those meetings at their home in North Carolina, I came back and had meetings with all of the law enforcement partners you see standing up here today, with the supervisors in my office, in consultation with other district attorneys around the state, and to a person, the advice and suggestions that I was given was, you do what the victim's family wants you to do in this case. I don't know how I could have sat in Sandy's kitchen and asked her to commit the next 25 years of her life to the criminal justice system without any assurances that that sentence, if ever imposed, or excuse me, if ever obtained, would ever actually be imposed. I want to take an opportunity to thank the law enforcement partners who are standing up here and those who are not up here. This investigation, this prosecution, was exactly what local, state, and federal cooperation should look like. The Frederick Police Department, the Greeley Police Department, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, all worked in conjunction with one another to present to our office a case that could give this resolution and hopefully disclosure to Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico's family. Understand that this is not over. As I said, we have a sentencing hearing in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give Director John Camper from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation an opportunity to say a few words here in a couple of minutes. But understand that at this point, I still can't answer questions about the facts surrounding the investigation because at least at this point, the judge has not formally accepted those guilty pleas and imposed sentence. After that sentencing hearing, we will have an opportunity to answer the questions that I know many in the media, many in the public have had from the day this investigation started. But before we answer any questions, I want to invite up Director John Camper.
Thanks, Mr. Rourke. I think it goes without saying when something so horrible happens, it's really not possible to be particularly celebratory. But that said, I think all of us are gratified at the outcome here, primarily for Shanann's family, but also the many investigators and other professionals, as Mr. Rourke said, some who are represented here and many who are not, who have devoted so much time, energy, and frankly, emotion into this tragic case. Really all everyone wanted throughout was justice for Shanann and Bella and Celeste, and we're certainly pleased that this seems to be the outcome. So on behalf of the CBI and I think the other organizations and many who were involved in this, our deepest condolences to the Rusicks and their family and friends. Thank you.
I'll be happy to answer questions, but I will be the first to tell you that I truly appreciate the Rusicks being present, not only in the state of Colorado, but in this room. I can tell you on behalf of them, they are not prepared, nor do they want to answer questions at this point, and I hope you all will respect that. I will try to answer questions as best I can on their behalf, at least today. So, what questions can I answer for you all?
Could the death penalty ever be imposed in the state of Colorado?
I don't know. We have a governor in office right now who, understandably, we have an election going on today. He is term limited. We have a governor who has refused to make a decision as it relates to Nathan Dunlap. I explained that to the Rusick family, and obviously that gives them some pause when I'm asking them to endure a 4 or 5 year delay prior to a trial, and many more years after that of appeals and post-conviction hearings before that sentence could ever possibly be imposed. So when the question was asked of me by their family, what is the realistic outcome of this particular case as it relates to the death penalty, the best I could tell them is I don't know.
You said that they requested that you not seek the death penalty. How did that affect your process?
I went through the same process I would have had their answer been different. I had in my mind from the day this occurred the steps in the process that I felt like were due diligence in order to come to this decision. I don't think any elected district attorney ever wants to have to make a decision about whether or not to seek the death penalty as it relates to an individual. But when I have a family who has been so incredibly supportive and so incredibly firm in their belief that the death penalty not be sought, I don't know how I would have said to them, I'm going to do it anyway.
How early into the process was that decision made?
The decision was made about 4 days ago.
How was the family? How did the family react when told about this decision?
I think there were a lot of emotions that went through their mind, and again, they're going to throw something at me if I say something inappropriate. I think that there was a combination of relief, extraordinary sadness that we ever had to have that conversation in the first place. And I can only say that I hope there is a sense of closure. I know that that will never be fully realized because obviously the tragedy that sits before us today is the loss of 4 beautiful lives. And no matter what happens today, no matter what happens at a sentencing hearing down the road, we can't get them back. Sandy said it very, very poignantly to me. She said, he made the choice to take those lives. I do not want to be in a position of making the choice to take his. And so that's about as firmly as she could have said it to me, and that was very compelling to all of us as we were talking about how to proceed on this case.
Chris Watts first said Shanann actually killed the 2 little girls. What was his story when he changed his mind? And were they killed before Shanann got home?
Carol, I don't know the answer to that question. We talked a lot about whether we would require him to come forward and give us what we believe to be a complete, accurate, and truthful statement. I think all of those who were involved never truly believed that he would give us an accurate statement. What I can tell you most affirmatively today by what happened in the courtroom is the spotlight that he tried to shine on Shanann falsely, incorrectly, and frankly a flat-out lie has been corrected. The spotlight shines directly where it belongs, on him.
What's the status of the autopsy?
Those are still sealed at this point. I need to have a conversation with the coroner's office, with Shanann's family, and the county attorney representing the coroner's office about at what point in time those will become a public record. We are not assuming that the sentencing hearing goes the way we believe that it will and goes forward. We will not be asking those be kept sealed any longer after the sentencing hearing.
When did discussions with the defense begin about the plea deal?
Several weeks ago. I can't tell you the exact date, but it's been several weeks in the making. We had very preliminary discussions prior to visiting the Rusicks in North Carolina.
Was it just a matter of the death penalty to get a guilty plea?
You'd have to ask them. All I can tell you is the discussions that we had with them And frankly, the discussions that Mr. Wren and I had with the Rusick family made it very clear that there was going to be no further concession. I didn't feel like this was a case where it was appropriate to agree to dismiss some counts in exchange for a plea of guilty to others, because we charged him with what we truly believed he had done at the time we filed that complaint. And I was not willing to entertain any further concessions above and beyond removing the death penalty from consideration.
During your investigation, did you ever get a motive from Chris Watts?
Ask me again in 2.5 weeks, or the day after the day of sentencing. I'll be happy to answer that question. At this point, that's getting a little bit too far into the investigation, at least as we sit right now. We believe that we have a partial motive. I'm not sure if it's the entirety of the motive, but I'll be happy to comment on that following the sentencing hearing.
Will Christopher Watts be solitary confinement?
You know, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Whether or not he's in solitary confinement where he serves his time, whether it be in what DOC facility in the state of Colorado, or if he's one who's transferred to another state, is left to the discretion of the executive director of the Department of Corrections. I don't know. Yes.
Can you talk about the importance of that?
Sure.
To yourself, to law enforcement, and to the prisoners?
Absolutely. I think that the plea of guilty to each of those counts, naming those individual victims, Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico, was an important consideration, but also he deserves a life sentence for each and every act on top of one another. In practicality, it doesn't make a difference in terms of how long he's ultimately going to serve. But what he needs to understand is he will be serving 3 consecutive life sentences plus a sentence for Nico Watts because of the acts that he committed against all 4 of them. It was important that each of those beautiful human beings be reflected in the ultimate sentence that will be imposed.
Does he remain in solitary confinement in the jail?
I don't know what the status of him being held in the jail is. I would expect, I'm speculating or surmising that that's probably something the sheriff would look into or will do pending sentencing, but I don't know where he sits today.
What was the security importance of the garment that he was brought in there?
I don't know. I presume that it was for his own protection. From whom, I don't know. I think that that's a standard safety measure that the sheriff will take in very high-profile cases. I appreciate the sheriff's diligence in protecting him as well as everybody else who's in the courtroom.
Have you ever had a case like this resolved so going into the investigation?
No.
Have you ever had a case like this?
No.
Is that due to the overwhelming amount of evidence in some ways that you think that you had in this case?
I don't know the reason why they approached us initially. I don't know what their thought process was in terms of making this offer to us that was at least compelling enough that we wanted to get on a plane and fly out and see the Rusick family in person. This was not a conversation we were going to have over the telephone or over Skype. But what caused them to come to us in the first place, I don't know. I don't know what it was that pushed them over the tipping point, so to speak.
Did they come with a plea agreement that was similar to what was talked about today?
Initially, no.
Okay.
Recently, yes.
Okay.
As of a couple of days ago, yes.
2 separate
Yes.
offers?
Yes.
Okay.
How does this make you feel?
Sick, saddened. As Director Camper said, no one wins today. I never wanted to have to stand up and have a press conference like this. I'm saddened that I had to meet the Rusick family under these circumstances. It's been a pleasure working with them and meeting them and knowing them. But as the director said, there is no cause for celebration today.
Will the Rusicks be making victim impact statements at sentencing?
I believe so. That's a conversation that we started when they flew in yesterday, and I'm going to give them some time to thoughtfully decide how they want to proceed at sentencing. So if they don't, Mr. Roach, Mr. Wren, and I will be happy to speak on their behalf. Any other questions?
Sentencing investigation is going to be a pro forma sentencing for large part, so why conduct that?
Oftentimes, even in Class 1 felonies, we ask that the probation department complete a pre-sentencing investigation report, as Mr. Wren said, because the Department of Corrections actually benefits from that information. It helps them in classifying offenders more quickly when they reach the regional diagnostic center. I understand the judge's desire to have a sentencing hearing done sooner rather than later, but we were endeavoring to try to do both in order to assist DOC with the classification determination they would have to make. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone.
This matter comes on for a first appearance. Mr. Warwick, correct me if I'm wrong, but formal charges have not been filed yet?
That's correct, Your Honor. The defendant was arrested. Formal charges have not been filed. By my calculation, I believe it will be due to the court at 3:30 on Monday.
Thank you. Mr. Mercer, anything you would like to say about that?
Not regarding that issue, thank you.
So the court has reviewed a affidavit in support of a warrantless arrest. The court has found probable cause for the arrest. Specifically, I see that Mr. Watts was arrested for 3 counts of first-degree murder, each a Class 1 felony, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body, each a Class 3 felony. Again, these are only charges that are named in the affidavit in support of the warrantless arrest. It's the district attorney's office who will ultimately decide what charges, if any, are going to be filed. And Mr. Mercer, would you like me to advise your client of his right pursuant to Rule 5?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, Mr. Watts, I would like you to listen carefully to the rights that you have, okay? And so first, you don't need to make any statements. Any statements you make can and may be used against you. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to counsel. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you are indigent, you have the right to request the appointment of counsel or consult with a public defender before any further proceedings are held. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Merson is the head of the public defender's office, and he is going to represent you today and potentially in the future. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any plea that you make must be made voluntarily and not the result of undue influence or coercion. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Right now, charges have not been filed, so this is a limited advisement. I intend to bring you back next week once formal charges are filed on Monday, so I can give you a full advisement. But I will tell you that at this point, the court is not authorizing any bail. Once I know what the official charges are that are filed by the district attorney's office, I'll inform you of the nature of the charges. If charges are filed, you have the right to a jury trial, and you have the right to demand and receive a preliminary hearing within a reasonable time to determine whether probable cause exists to believe that you committed any of the charges that are filed by the district attorney's office. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I believe that your lawyer has filed about 16 or so motions on your behalf, including a request for a preliminary hearing. Do you agree, Mr. Merson, that that time period, that 35 days to have a preliminary hearing, doesn't begin until your client appears in court next week once formal charges are filed?
I agree.
And I have not seen, correct me if I'm wrong, a proof positive, presumptive, great written motion by your office?
Not at this point, Judge.
Okay. Okay. And so would you like me to further advise your client of any additional rights?
No, thank you.
Mr. Work, what kind of conditions, if any, are you requesting for the protection order given the circumstances?
Judge, I'm going to defer to Mr. Wren.
Mr. Wren?
People are simply asking for the standard protection order under Title 18 at this point, given the deceased nature of the victims.
And I assume based on the no bond hold, the issue of possessing or having access to or control over a firearm or any ammunition is a non-issue until and if bond is authorized.
That's correct.
Thank you. So, Mr. Watts, I am going to issue a protection order pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 18-1-1001. It's going to state that you not harass, molest, intimidate, retaliate against any witness involved in this case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you were to violate the statutory protection order, it's a Class 1 misdemeanor. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And could we talk about some of them? I realize that things are happening very quickly. Motions were filed today. There hasn't been a lot of time to object or to file responses. Mr. Merson has filed a number of motions, some of which potentially may be time sensitive. My intention is for the parties to come back to court next Tuesday so I could advise Mr. Watts of his formal charges that are filed no later than 3:30 on Monday. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be requiring the prosecutor to file a response between now and Tuesday, or whether we can resolve some of these issues now. For example, the preservation of certain evidence, like police notes, handwritten notes, like touch DNA evidence, things of that nature.
Your Honor, I think we can address some of these pretty quickly, but certainly not all of them. We would be asking for time to file a written response to some.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the time that elapses between now and Tuesday, and I want to make sure that the evidence that's being requested to be preserved is preserved.
Understood.
So, for example, can you, any objection for me to order that all law enforcement, both state and federal, that were involved in this case, preserve their handwritten notes? Any objection to that?
No.
So I will grant that request. Did you read Mr. Merson's motion with regard to testimony?
I believe that was filed under seal, and I have not seen it.
It was suppressed, so they should have had access to it.
Gail, Christy, could you put out a copy for Mr. Red? Again, I appreciate the fact that this happened very quickly, and so let me get you a copy of that, a hard copy of that, and then you can review it and let me know what your thoughts are. Is there an autopsy that's scheduled to be conducted in the near future?
Not yet.
It was a
16.
16?
Yes.
While we're waiting, Mr. Merson, I noticed that...
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt, Judge. It was D17.
D17?
Yeah, sorry.
So I see that your motions are numbered, but I'm missing 9 through 15.
Yeah, I basically counted them and then started off. There were some other people in my office that had filed those other pleadings and not numbered them.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing something.
I don't think you are. I think many of them concern the media issue. On the way over here, the deputies advised the court had already ruled on that. So to a certain extent, some of that is moot. But if we are going to take a D17, in light of the fact that the affidavit is still sealed, I would ask that the court seal the courtroom and just allow the parties to argue that, because it will require me to talk about information in the affidavit.
Well, why don't we give this around an opportunity and let me know whether, without talking about the substance, whether he has an objection or not. It's really more of putting the prosecution on notice than anything else. Why don't you read it first and let me know what you think. You can give it to the prosecution.
Steve.
Extra.
I might. It was one of the...
So, I did add the house to this. So the D17 will have the house on it as well. But that's the gist of it. At this point, I'm concerned about whether or not it's not. It's been released by law enforcement. Okay. When was that? Like last night? Okay. Alright. That's because that part of the motion would be good at this point. Mostly concerns what's in this motion. So, okay.
If I could take a moment to read. Yes.
Mr. Merson, if you Mr. Ring.
Thank you.
I'm okay with continuing it. I just don't want there to be any time-sensitive issues between now and next Tuesday that we should have handled today.
I think we need to address it today. As I indicated, Judge, at this point, there's not an autopsy scheduled or autopsies. I don't know when that might happen. I don't know if it would happen before Tuesday or not. With respect to this motion, and does the court want to address Mr. Merson's concerns about clearing the courtroom, given the sealed nature of this, or may I speak for you? Well,
it is I think it's based on the sealing of the affidavit in support of the warrantless arrest, and so with your motion to seal, if you think the reasons why you requested the affidavit to be sealed are going to be compromised, we could do this in camera. If you believe it's not, then we can talk about it publicly.
I'm not worried about the compromising nature of the affidavit. I will tell the court and make a record that the prosecution has provided Mr. Merson with a copy of the affidavit, despite the fact that it was sealed to the public.
I am concerned about this being discussed in a non-in-camera setting. My concerns revolve around the issues I brought up in the objections to expanded media coverage. It's an ongoing investigation at this point. I have concerns about, what would be discussed and how that would implicate Mr. Watts' right to a fair trial and his due process right. So my request is that the court seal the court so we can discuss this.
Mr. Wright?
Leave that to the discretion of the court.
It seems to me, based on everything I've heard, that the affidavit is going to be released at some point. It was the prosecution who requested the sealing of the affidavit. They're not concerned about this being compromised, the investigation being compromised. And so I think we can talk about this publicly. Mr. Wright?
And when you say talk about this, are we still talking about D17?
Yes.
Which was also filed under seal.
Yes.
So with respect to paragraph number 3, Judge, our concerns relate to the way this is worded. As the court knows, the pathologist goes through a very extensive process when conducting an autopsy, much of which is governed by statute. I think most of what he's asking for is standard procedure for an autopsy conducted in this jurisdiction and would be done. However, I have concerns about the way this is phrased in that it orders collection of trace DNA and touch DNA from certain areas of bodies that at this point we don't even have, frankly. Second, we don't know if that trace DNA is going to even exist if we have the bodies. So there's no way to order us to find something that may or may not exist.
I think when I read the motion, it essentially is putting the prosecution on notice that at some point they may be in possession of exculpatory evidence, and it's their duty to make reasonable efforts to preserve that and ultimately provide that to the defense. And so I think they're on notice by the mere fact that we're talking about this, that Mr. Wren got a copy of the motion, and if this becomes an issue later on, we can litigate this, and there's some pretty significant sanctions for the destruction of exculpatory evidence. Okay, so that will be the ruling of the court.
Your Honor, may I ask one clarifying question? Because the way that the motion is titled talks about the collection of touch or trace DNA at 2825 Saratoga Trail as well as during the autopsy, but the body of the motion does not. I want to make sure that Mr. Merson is aware that the home where the homicides were alleged to have occurred has been released by law enforcement. It was released as of about midnight last night. So even as we stand today, we are not in a position to be able to go back in and collect trace DNA from that home. So I just want to make clear that, that the ruling of the court does not require us to do anything affirmative with respect to the home.
And Mr. Wren advised me that the government is no longer in control of the home, so I'm aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With regard to the motion for protective order, essentially for nobody to speak to Mr. Watts other than his attorneys and investigators and support staff, I'm assuming there's no objection to that?
Correct.
You'll put law enforcement on notice on that issue?
Yes.
Okay. Any other time-sensitive issues that cannot wait until next Tuesday?
Nothing from the beginning.
Mr. Merson?
May I just have 1 second?
Sure.
Nothing further. Thanks, Judge.
Okay, and I would just respectfully ask that if you file anything between now and next Tuesday, certainly into the future, if you could advise your office of this, if there's more than one lawyer working on this, please number every pleading that's filed, and for the prosecution as well, maybe you can use letters. And that way I know that I'm not missing something. That would be wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see. Let's pick a time next Tuesday. I know everybody's really busy. I just had some time open up. And so what's a convenient time for everybody to be here? I'm also going to be asking if there's victim rights compliance today and see if there's a more convenient time for whoever the victim rights representative is.
We have been in communication with the family of the victims. We are in VRA compliance with that, based on that effort. At this point, we don't have any specific times that are good or bad for the family, but we will certainly contact them as soon as we leave and clarify their availability for next Tuesday.
How about the attorneys? What's a good time for you to be here on Tuesday?
Anytime, Judge. I'll make it work.
The motion's hearing in Division 12 at 2 o'clock. That'll probably last an hour, otherwise I'm free.
About 10 o'clock.
That's fine.
Okay. So the plan is next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, we're going to know whether the prosecution filed formal charges or not, and the deadline for that would be Monday at 3:30. I will give Mr. Watts a more detailed advisement, and then we'll decide what the next step is going to be. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, one more thing.
Yes.
I would just ask the court order that the prosecution give the defense notice as to if an autopsy is to be scheduled, when that is scheduled, so that we can file the appropriate motions. I think you can appreciate why we would want notice of that.
Yes. Any objection to that?
Not as to the notice issue.
Yeah, I'm not going to be ordering that they, at this point I'm not ordering that they be allowed to be present during the autopsy. Why don't we say 48 hours notice? Is that reasonable?
Yes, and if I learn that information over the weekend, I'll email Mr. Mercer.
Okay with you, Mr. Mercer?
That's fine, thank you.
They wouldn't do the autopsy over the weekend, though, would they?
No, I don't believe so.
They would?
They're going to try to get it done soon. So 48 hours is probably not going to be enough.
We've all certainly seen autopsies scheduled less than 48 hours after the bodies are recovered. So we will do our best to comply with the notice requirements as soon as we learn the information.
Who would be making the decision on when to perform an autopsy?
The coroner's office.
So can you communicate with them that there's an order that there would be 48 hours notice, and if they, for whatever reason, can't comply with that, you'll let Mr. Mercer know?
Is the court ordering that the autopsy not be conducted earlier than 48 hours after the recovery of the bodies?
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I'm ordering that you notify the coroner that there's an order that Mr. Mercer is entitled to 48 hours notice, and if they are intending to perform the autopsy sooner than that, they need to let you know before it starts. You can give Mr. Mercer reasonable notice.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you can think of between now and next Tuesday that we can resolve today?
Nothing from the prosecution.
Nothing from the defense, thanks.
Okay. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock when we are at this question.
Hello. Hey, President, what's up? What's up? I get mom, she's not here. Or Kelly's whole week. Okay. Still, how you? I'm okay. You still at the same place? Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Hi.
Thanks, you can jack it off.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey.
Hey.
What you doing?
How you doing?
Okay.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Where are you?
I'm solo, Kelly.
You still in the same place?
Yeah, I'm in the same place.
Okay. Okay. Oh, darling. I did not know you didn't receive our letter till a few days ago.
I'm sorry, just like,
Had no idea.
you don't need to like overnight stuff because they still have to like, you know, go through it.
And there's some bad stuff coming out. And I think there's really a lot of bad stuff that Frankie and Sandy and everyone has said about us. Really bad. But we're going to deal about it. We'll deal with it. But they said your dad has substance. Here, tell him. Oh, no, you tell him.
Well, they're just saying a bunch of stuff that's not true.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that's not true. And
We're just going to let them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now. There's like stuff that it was said before or stuff like now? Well, no, it was stuff that was evidently some things from the past, whatever, but they're saying substance abuse from me and Jamie moving in and out and all this stuff. She was a rebel and stuff like that.
oh my God. And they're telling whatever else.
Was it stuff like was going on in the case before or stuff they just like are saying now?
We don't know. They're going to go on CNN Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and with the DA. And they're going to just say, I don't know what they're going to say. Frankie's been saying things on his Facebook that we've just only begun, you know, and I don't know what that means. And Jamie's been getting threatening emails and phone calls. And these people are crazy. Some of these people are crazy, but I've got I've got so much support from so many people. I just wish you would have.
Let them say what they want to say.
They can say what they want to say. We don't care. We support you. We love you, and that's all that matters. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Stuff wasn't happening though.
I know, honey. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hey, don't worry about us.
Don't worry about us.
Just take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. You be safe. Please be safe. Please be safe, because I just can't deal with this. If you're not safe,
You'll be safe, honey.
we just want you to be safe.
You will, honey.
We love you so much, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Nothing.
Just remember, we're always here.
We're always here for you.
Okay. Well, Jamie, I'm sorry that happened too.
I know. It doesn't matter to her. She just wants you to be okay.
I know, but I don't want Robert kids to get involved with it either, as far as like people trying to get to them either. So.
I know.
That's what we're working on.
We're working on that, but I don't agree with anything. I don't agree with anything that woman said that day. She talked off the top of her head. Everything was manipulated, and we were intimidated, and all of that stuff.
Well, it wasn't our story.
It wasn't our story. None of it was.
That's what you're talking about the other day. She was lying. You're talking about her, right? What are you talking about? When you said you knew that her statements wasn't true or whatever. Which one? Are you talking about Nicole? Or are you talking about Nicole? Okay.
Nicole. Okay.
That's fine. What that lady said, Jean said that day was not what we
said. We didn't take anything that she said, and it broke our hearts.
I was talking about the Nicole stuff, the paper, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay, it was.
I was talking about that stuff, all the stuff that came out the other day was kind of debunked all that stuff she said. So.
I know. Yeah. I know.
You're talking about Jean. I'm not sure which one you're talking about with Jean. When Jean said that we accepted that you did it, all that stuff.
No, we did not. We never did. All we wanted to do was get in the courtroom and give our statement, tell you how much we loved you.
You have to go now.
And then I thought that you didn't.
You have to go.
Oh, you gotta go?
Yeah, I gotta go.
I'm sorry.
Time to go already?
Already?
Yeah, I gotta head back in stuff.
Okay. I love you. Please call us again. Okay.
Try to call us tomorrow again.
Okay, bye-bye. I love you.
Bye.
An inmate at Weld County Jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, press 2. If you would like to thank you for using Securus, you may start the conversation now.
What up? What's up? Ooh, outside cooking the turkey. Outside cooking the turkey? But you're outside? Well, we're deep frying it in the thing. That's why we're outside. Inside where your mama knows that. Oh, okay. Hang on just a second. Alrighty then. What's that, folks? What easier to connect this time, huh? Get on. Hang on. Put her in.
Oh my God.
Hang on.
Hey, hon. Oh my God, we're so happy to hear from you.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. We love you. We believe you. Chris, I love you. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And no matter what, we believe you and we want you to fight. No matter what. If a lawyer comes up to you, take it. Take it. Okay, we'll slow down. We'll slow down. I know we only got a few minutes. I just want to get everything we need to get out to you. This is Joanne. I love you and I believe in you wholehearted. We all do. And you were railroaded. Oh my goodness. We love you. We love you, Chris. We love you.
Love you too.
We love you more than anything.
We're all
okay?
right. We're all right here.
We're right here and don't you give up.
I got something up down a little bit.
Hey.
Yes.
Hold on. I've been trying to get, I know you're on speaker, but we love you so much, and we just want you to, this is not the end of your story. I believe so much. So please do whatever you need to do to find your voice, and just do what you need to do, okay?
Okay.
We love you so very much. And I love you no matter what. Either way, I love you no matter what. Okay? All right, I'm going to let you talk to Mom and Dad, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hey.
Hey.
Don't give up, please. Do you promise me?
I know. I'm staying strong. Don't worry.
You have to. You have to because there is so much support out there for you. No one told you. Did you ever get our letters?
I just got it today.
Today. Of all days, you got it today. Unbelievable.
I did what? Keep picking out.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's the thing, whenever you send letters, you have to screen them, and they have to, all that kind of stuff, because people send, contraband through, the mail. They gotta screen them, and I think people even got so, even so sneaky that they were putting, drugs behind stamps, so they gotta make sure everything's kosher before
there was nothing there, Chris. There was nothing there, but we didn't send anything back. We didn't send anything. I thought that, when you didn't call us, I said, you just didn't want to talk to us, and, I had to do everything I had to do to get in there to talk to you. I did whatever I had to do to talk to you. I listened to whatever they had to say to me. But honey, I never believed it, any of it. Just know that your mama's been fighting for you. I have been on Channel 7, Channel 9 in Denver, the Denver Post, everybody. Now let him talk. Okay. All right, we want to hear your voice. We just want to hear your voice. Yeah.
That's right. I've read all the stuff in the paper, so.
Have you? There is so much out there, and there is so much support out there. You don't know how much support is out there for you.
They released some 2,000 pages of everything during the whole investigation, everything. A lot of it's,
they had nothing.
They had nothing, a whole lot to go on. They have a theory. That's all they had.
That's all they had was a theory. They had nothing.
All that stuff. The other woman, so.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, they have. It doesn't matter.
What they released actually helped with that, so.
Yes, it did. Yes. What she said and what they pulled off your phone was good. Chris, let somebody come talk to you. Yes, let somebody. All we want is somebody. Let a lawyer come talk to you. Request one, Chris. Request one. Someone is going to come and talk to you. Yes.
He's got to okay it.
He's got to. You have got to okay it. We can't do anything without you okaying it. Our hands are tied on the arm, and we support you 100%. You're going to get out of there.
It's, I don't know, I think these are like 10-minute calls or 5-minute calls, I'm not sure, but they'll tell me when I have 1 minute left, but, it's, what time do I have on that?
I just keep calling her. And I don't know what happens with the $50.
I was just, how much time I had on my power out, so,
Oh, we put $50 on a card, and now there's no $50 there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter. All right, Chris, talk.
How did the gymnastic competition go?
Oh. Don't worry about that right now. She did good. She got lots of medals. She fell off the balance beam, but she got back up and she kept going. Okay? But we just want to hear about you.
I know, I was just curious, I guess the last time I got to talk to you guys, so I was just curious.
You're going to make me cry today, so don't do that. We're waiting for you to call.
And Amy still got contact with Amy.
Amy still got contact with me. Okay? Yeah, but not with us. Okay?
Yeah, she told me she was able to, that you texted her and she was able to respond to you and everything.
Yeah, she was able to contact Jenny, but she can't contact us because, we just went on that victim thing just so we could, just so they could talk. So we could talk to you.
On with the legal. So, whenever,
Yeah.
They're hard doing that. It's definitely, they can't really do anything with that. Like, when they go to the body's represented by a lawyer, and when they have a client, they can't, they talk to me about you, that you have another.
I know.
Well, when they going to move you to the evaluation center? So it could be tomorrow, it could be Monday, it could be 2 weeks from now. They never tell you. They just kind of show up and say you'll show up.
Will you be able to stay in contact with us?
Yeah, it'll be for this evaluation center. I'm not sure how their operation is there, but I'm sure I'll be able to get time out and find a phone somewhere. Just kind of home right where I'm at. I just go with all them. Okay.
So. Go ahead.
I think it's over by the airport. Evaluation center. So.
Will you consider fighting? Will you consider it?
I'm gonna stay strong. I'm not losing any faith. Just I got my Bible with me, and that's I read a lot of it each night. And I get down, it seems like the next verse is kind of waiting for me to read. So.
Please consider fighting. Please consider it.
A lot of people after that, all them 2,000 papers come out today.
They have nothing.
A lot of people's questioning a lot of things about this case.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not sure why they released it, but they released it. I was sitting here. I was told what was in it. And I was just well, maybe they were just. I don't know why they released it, but.
Honey, they had nothing. Yes, honey, had nothing. Nothing.
The theory, that's all
they had a theory, and that's it.
They have a whole lot to prove it.
I wish we could have talked to you these last 3 months. No. I wish you would have called us. But he couldn't. I know that they wouldn't let you, but you don't do everything everybody tells you to do. You have to cut. You got to go with what you feel is right.
If I would have called and let everything was going on, all these calls go straight to the district attorney.
Oh, I know. We know that. All we want to do is say we love you, support you, fight. That's all. That's it.
It's just a matter of like the DA. I mean, the district attorney. They were watching me like a hawk. I mean, every letter I got, even if it was from some crazy person or if it was from actual someone that I knew, like it was scanned and it was sent over to the DA like before I even got it.
I know. We just want you to know we're behind you. Yes, and that we support you 100%. We know what she was like. Okay, we just love you, and they can record all they want.
I know, but just remember, like she was a wonderful woman too. Okay.
We know that.
Like, I don't want the lasting memory of anybody to be like something that was.
None of it. So sweet. None of it should have happened. None of it happened. None of it. Okay. We love you.
I don't want anybody's memory being negative. She was wonderful.
No, it's not. Honey. It's not. I understand. It's not. But we just don't want your last. Yeah. We don't want you to be forgotten in this either. No. We're fighting for you.
You have 1 minute left.
All right, we got 1 minute left. So we are fighting for you. That's all we care about right now. Well, we got 1 minute left. So
but
I love you, Chris.
I can call you back. I can actually hang up and call you back. I got a little bit more time.
Oh, really? Do it.
Okay,
we'll finish this minute. Yeah. Okay. Bye. All right.
The caller has hung up. Made at Weld County Jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, press 2. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hello.
Hey.
Watching Panthers lose one.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Watching the Panthers blow one there.
How are you?
They're losing?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's tied. It's tied right now. They had, very beginning of the game, they had a 4th and goal, or whatever it was. 4th and, you get a first down, they come up like 6 inches short, and then they had a pick in the end zone. So that's 2 touchdowns they missed. And now Gano just missed a 50-yard field goal with, in the 4th quarter. Now the Seattle's going down there and get a field goal to win the game. Oh, no, that sucks. Yeah.
Mark wants to know if you can call him.
I don't have his phone number. Well,
I can get it for you.
Just can get it right quick.
See if I can get it.
Okay. And the next game, have you got access to TV today? No. Damn it. Okay. Well, the next game's Pittsburg at Denver. I was wondering if it was going to be shown over there. Yep, that's the second game that's on here. Yeah, but if I'm still here tomorrow, I'll call you and you can tell me what happened. Okay, I got it set to record. In this game here, the Panthers should be up by 2 touchdowns right now. Gano just missed a field goal, so that's...
Mark Jameson, do you have a pen and paper?
No, I don't have access to that.
Oh, darn.
I think we'll put up memory or just wait until I get to where I'm going from here.
Okay. Honey, how are you doing?
I'm alright. I'm hanging in there. You know when they're going to move you yet, or don't know? What's up? You know when they're going to move you? It's going to be any minute, any hour that gets you to. Anytime, man. There's no set thing.
Where are you at now in the deal?
Just random place. You know when they're going to move you? It's going to be any minute, any hour that gets you to. Anytime, man. There's no set thing.
Where are you at now in the deal?
Just random place. They keep moving you around. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just me and Shan had tickets to the game today. So, no, you didn't. Yeah, work at it, yeah, he had to take of course. Yeah. But it's kind of every little day comes around, Yeah, How's your kid be going?
Oh, honey, I'm so sad. I just don't know how to get out of this package.
Take time, buddy.
I just don't know how.
I know.
We love you so much.
So we got commissary stuff, or you use up all that? I used that back up. I used that stuff up because I figured I wouldn't be here much longer. So
yeah.
So you got some stuff in there, or? Well, I have stuff I can use, but I used up all like the cash to buy stuff, so it wouldn't be hanging around because it couldn't transfer. So.
Yeah.
You got everything you get.
You just let us know what you need.
I will. Whenever you get where you're going, what you can have, so we can get it to you. So what all they're allowing there as far as anything.
Please call us every day.
Yeah, whenever I get a chance, I will.
Please.
And all the time during the week, I won't be. The DRC won't be. The DRC place is temporary, so. Yeah. What there's a lot of times you can get out and you get moved or whatever. So, hey, Chris, if I'm calling now during the week, I'll be at work. I got like some other stuff. I'll run there at 10 or 2, so you can always one of them.
Yeah.
Hey,
God, we miss you so much.
Right? Miss you, that's too bad.
I just miss you so much.
Everybody's doing good. Everybody's being
Mark says he loves you. And he believes in you. And there's a girl named Kim Kaufman that wants to write you. She's really been helping us out a whole lot.
Who is she?
She is. She's been talking to Mark. She's just someone that a friend had asked a long time ago when this happened, and she has just been such a staunch supporter.
She lives in Utah, but she has a lot of her relatives actually work in Weld County.
Yeah.
Or
as far as no prisons in Colorado.
She has someone that's the police force there.
Yeah, she
believes in you. She fights.
I mean, there's so many people out here that believe in you.
Fighting for you. That's good. That's good to know.
Oh, you got a lot of support.
She do.
So much support.
We're sorry about yesterday bombarding you about everything.
I know, we're sorry. Yeah, I
know that stuff.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bombard you with anything until I can come to see you and be able to talk to you face to face and everything. And just
hopefully give you a hug or something.
Yeah, it would be wonderful just to give you a hug.
And where you go and how I'm not sure how things are when you get to the.
But promise me you'll be careful.
Trust me.
Have you had anybody coming to see you from your attorney?
Not this weekend. Some are out of town this weekend. And Amy still coming to see you, right? Yeah. Thanksgiving. Was it Thanksgiving she was there? Yeah, she was here Thanksgiving morning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she had a couple things she was doing with her daughter this weekend, so she set up a dinner on Monday. She'll come see me. That's good.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's good. Your sister sends her love.
Yeah.
Her support. Robert and all of them.
Oh, we all just love you so much.
Just let them know I'm sorry about all the emails and the phone calls they've been getting. So.
No.
Don't even worry about that, though.
Don't worry about that. We're strong. We can handle whatever anybody puts out there. I don't care. I know who you are. I know the kind of man you are.
They don't know the person.
They don't know you. They don't know us. And there's haters everywhere. But there you are. There's
a lot of support.
There's a lot of love too. I've received so many letters from such wonderful people
from all over the place.
all over the place, and thousands of messages on my messenger that just support and love you, and
ever since the documents came out, there's a whole lot of people questioning a whole lot of things.
A whole lot of stuff.
I know. The whole case.
A whole lot of stuff is being questioned.
I know. And so we.
I mean, I don't want to get it on the phone though.
No, just know you got a whole lot of support, a whole lot of love.
You better believe it.
A whole lot. Even a little bit loves you. You don't love me. Even a little bit loves you. You don't love me. You try to fight me, don't you? Tries to fight everybody. Yeah,
I know. He does. He does. No, just hate that all this. I don't know what to say anymore. I just want you to know we support you, we love you, and we will do anything you want.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
You ready to take it all on? Take it all on. But that woman in that brought us that victim's rights, so we could get in the courtroom and talk to you. Nothing that she said was correct. We had no idea she was going to say all that stuff. None of it. None of it.
If you read that or see it, whatever else.
I was horrified when we got home and her trying to talk on our behalf. I texted her a message and I said, do not talk on our behalf ever again. I said, this was not what's the way it was supposed to be.
She didn't explain any of that stuff for us. She got there and said she was going to talk off the top of her head, which I thought she did.
Yeah, and she was in the DA's pocket. So,
if you ever see the thing, remember what she said about it. That is not nothing we agreed with.
No, none of it.
I didn't nothing with that about what she said, though.
No, nothing she said was correct.
No.
They just
got hurt.
We just felt like we were in enemy territory.
That's the reason she used her so we get there and talk.
We just wanted to talk to you, and then when you didn't get my letter, that I had overnighted, when you didn't get it till just the other day, I didn't know what to think anymore. I was thinking you just didn't want to talk to us. And I mean, did you ever receive any of our messages? And
Amy and stuff, and I did.
I mean, I guess Amy. I mean, are you still there?
It's November 11th, so. But I didn't get it till November 23rd, so.
I know. You didn't get our letter, and then I didn't know what to think anymore. I figured you just didn't want to talk to us, and the attorneys wouldn't let us talk to you. Nobody would let us talk to you.
That's pretty normal across the board for attorneys not letting people talk as far as that. Everything's recorded and anything's said out of the way, so
there's nothing wrong with just saying to your son you love him, you miss him.
I know.
That's right. That's. I'm glad you got my letter now, though.
They don't want people like lose their emotions and just kind of like flip out and say, "What happened?"
Oh, I know, and I know you wouldn't have done that.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, we've got 1 more minute left to tell you.
But
talk about the game, Ron.
That first money we put on your phone card is on there. I don't know why it didn't work the first time you called.
But it's on there, $67 now.
$67 still on your phone thing.
Yeah.
You got plenty of money to call whenever you want to. Okay. I'm gonna go back on there and put your mother's number on there too, so you can call either one of them. Okay. When I go to the next place, it might be different, like a different phone.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That's why I put more money on it right now. That's really put more money on there because I had to put in a credit card number when you called that first day.
So that minute's going to be up in a minute, and I love you, love you, love you.
I'm sporting your Steelers sweater every day.
Every day. Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye. To pay for just this call using your credit or debit card, please press 1. To decline this call, press 4. If you would like to permanently block this call will cost 20 cents per minute, plus any applicable federal, state, and local taxes, plus a one-time transaction fee of $3. You will only be charged the per minute rate for the amount of time you were on the phone. If you do not want to connect this call, but would like to fund an account to pay for future calls, please hang up and dial. Please hold while the person you are calling is entering information to pay for this call. Please hold while the person you are calling is entering information to pay for this call. Recording and monitoring. To continue, press 1.
You guys are going to come or not, but you guys get all the way up.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To continue, press 1. To disconnect, press 2. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hello. Hey, what's up? Hey, how you? I'm hanging in there. I'm in there. Hey, I'm trying to turn my volume up on the phone here. Get all the way up. Okay. Hello, Are you still at the, where you at now? I'm still at Weld County. You're still Weld County? Okay. Yeah. Where you came that one time? I'm sorry, I can hear you. Where you came that one time? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to hear your voice. I don't know anymore. I didn't know if you still be at work or not, but yeah, I'm still at work. I'm back here in the warehouse. Okay, gotcha. How you doing? Okay. It was pretty horrible. Yeah, it was. Yep, we were there. But, proud of you. Proud of doing what you're doing. So, it's if you guys are going to come or not, but thanks for coming. And yeah, well, the lady we was with, she's actually not the defense attorney or whatever. Hang on a sec. Hey, I'm following us. You're not medicine. Okay. Anyway, she's a defense attorney, but she's not on the case or nothing. She's advocate for the victims' bill of rights thing. Since we were victims too, since Belle and Cece were our grandkids, she got us in as being victims so we could talk. So that was what I was all about. Gotcha. That was Miss Powers, right? Yeah, Miss Powers, yeah. She's good. Right. So that was really awesome what you guys said. Thank you. No, well, here, I wanted to say a whole lot more, but after your mother spoke, I couldn't, I lost it, so I couldn't really say anything else, so I let her read mine anyway. Yeah, she was good. That was pretty, I mean, you could probably see it through my classes, but, the papers that I didn't cry, but, I was definitely crying through it, everything, I know. That took a lot for you to get through what you got through there, believe me. It was horrible. Yeah. That part said this. I know this was. I don't have to go to court again, so. Yeah, that's good. I know this has been recorded or anything, but if you decide you want to fight this, there's people out there that don't fight. I've got plenty of letters that have, I've got a few letters here. Well, before Monday, it was like last week, I got a few letters, and from people that actually, that I've known in the past, because most of the time I get letters from people I don't know, but last week I got people I know, they were telling me to fight, but, I just don't want everybody to go through all this, that's what it goes. I know, but the fight. I think we did get to talk to you that one night before the plea, like your mother said, if you want to fight this, all you got to do is say so. We can have people there to fight for you. It's probably up to you. But they can't approach you unless you okay it more or less. I'm taking responsibility for it. This is all recorded anyways, but I know. It's hard to talk. I can't really talk about all that stuff on the phone. I don't think I ever will, just because Well, actually, when they leave you, I think. What? I didn't hear that last part. I said it's not going to bring anybody back. I know. But, maybe when they move you, I don't know how those phone calls and stuff are done, but I think you'd be able to talk more openly about what you want to do. I mean, it's when from here I go to that Denver Reception Diagnostics Center, and that's when they kind of like assess you and physicals and full screenings and whatever else, and do all the evaluation stuff aside. They pretty much evaluate you and they kind of figure out where to put you. And, like I'm not sure how I probably won't call much from there just because I'm not sure how long I'm going to be there. I could be there a week, I could be there a month, 2 months. Yeah, that's what I said. It could be 30 to 45 days there before they decide where you're going from there. But I mean, nice, especially when you get into the East Coast or something that way, we ain't got to fly all the way up there each time we want to come see you. Yeah, I know. I don't think they take that into account, unfortunately. But a lot of times they do move inmates all different places and stuff. So that would be. I've been in like 4 different spots in this jail since I've been in here. Move me all around, but it's like I mean, it's possible they move me around wherever I get to where I'm going. They maybe have like a security issue, they can move me somewhere, but I don't think it takes geographical. The family, like, into account. Yeah, probably right. We talk to they have like agreements with other states as far as like moving people around, but that's the only one I know of that's on the East Coast is like Pennsylvania. So ain't much difference from going there to going to Colorado, I don't think. I think we would still have shorter drive, but exactly. I think a lot of miles on that little Subaru we got. Yeah, I know, right? I think was it like 6 hours to get from North Carolina to Denver? I think I'm not sure how long it takes for Pennsylvania, but it probably wouldn't be as long. They thought I lost there. I thought I put some money on that card on your calling thing when they can call it all the only card, but I can credit card. I had to run up with that credit card. I quit when they said it was you. Gotcha. Yeah, I remember. I forget who told me you had like you set up something, so I figured it was. There was like $20-something on that other. Well, it was supposed to be anyway, but maybe they didn't. That's fine. I don't care how they did it. That's fine. Not as long as I get to hear your voice. I didn't know if it was like on just this number or like Mom and Jamie's number. Or I didn't know what it was. No, that was the first time he called. It was on this number. That's what we put money on that one, so you can when you didn't get the call, you would call this number. Gotcha. Oh Lord. Okay. You got money on your like TV or anything, but I just saw that Ghana won in a paper. Yeah, then he won the championship. then he did. And your statement be the crap out of Panthers. Yeah, I saw it in the paper. It was like 52 to 21. I was like, was that a college football game or what was it? It looked like college playing pro is what it looked like. Yeah, it was real. The traveling game on Thursday night usually don't play as well, but that was pretty bad. Yeah. Your Ultimata Fine Forest is 9-2 and 7-1 in the conference. We got first round bye in state playoffs last weekend. That's great. The only team we lost to was Richmond County and one other one, I think. Also together this year. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to have to play them for a while. Yeah, they leave them out of this conference. Not fair to anybody. Are they still 4A or are they 5A? I'm still 4A. I don't know what Richmond County is. I'm going in the same boat. Yeah, because like 5A schools, 4A is on. I think you might be able to be there for a few more days, or you don't know yet. I doubt they'll come and get me tomorrow, being it's Thanksgiving, but anything's possible. But on my hour out tomorrow, I'll definitely give you guys a call. We'll be at Jamie's house tomorrow. Yeah. And then my watch. Well, we'll be over all day. We'll spend the night and stuff overnight. Yeah, tomorrow night. I'd be like, ready to get my hour out by the same time every day. So it's going to be anywhere between like 1 and 2 o'clock here. So it's like 4 to 5 here in the house. I'm never sure there about 3 something probably. Well, yeah. I'm still trying to get over jet lag for the last few days. You got back yesterday? Well, we got back, we flew back the same Monday night. We got back to Raleigh around 10:45, 11 o'clock, all that thing, home about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And got up and went to work. Yeah. But we flew out of Raleigh because it was cheaper that way. Well, I told I had a flight booked anyway for me. And the girl got contacted my mother and everything, got her, so I got to buy her a plane ticket. They're supposed to be reimbursing us for all that stuff. So eventually. I didn't know, I didn't want you guys to spend all that money to come out here since you guys won't be able to see me, so. But they're supposed to be reimbursing us for that stuff. Close to, it might take a while, but we're still getting reimbursed for it. We gave all the thing for the hotel and the airfare and everything. And we were staying just a block down from the courthouse anyway, so we walked over there. We had walked to the girl drove us over there and stuff. Through the parking garage, back stairs, and the elevators to keep away from the media, so we didn't have to talk to them. I was worried about that. That day between yesterday and the last time, the defense and everybody would say they had back stairways and parking garages and elevators. They could just pass everybody. But I did that. Yeah, they got us straight out, and we got to her Jeep, and she took us back to the airport. That's good. Yeah. So we had to hang out at the airport for a while before we left. We sit down and had lunch and stuff and talk for a while and stuff. Mother had her a glass of wine. With everything that was said in that courtroom, I don't blame anybody for having some alcohol at the airport. No, that's for sure. But, just think about things, and when we get able to talk, when we can talk, whatever.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute left, thank you. I tell you that. Okay. All right. So just think about things. Just keep your head up, and just know we're always here for you, no matter what. So I know. Don't ever forget that. And we meant everything. We meant everything you said. Those statements that she read. What's that? We meant everything your mother read and that lady read for me. Thank you. It meant a lot. Just remember that we're always here for you. Jamie loves you. Believe me. I know it. Hopefully I get to talk to everybody tomorrow too when I go. Yeah. And we're looking forward to that. Believe me. I don't want to cut us off, so I'll just. Okay. All right. We love you, dog. Be good. Take care of yourself. And do what you got to do. Be safe. I will. Love you. Okay.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Okay.
Hello.
We're back.
We're back. Talk to us. We just want to hear your voice.
How's the Thanksgiving going so far?
We're just cooking.
It's cooking, and it's so good to hear your voice.
It doesn't matter about anything else. Nothing matters.
I'm happy your mother and your sister were last night when your family
Oh my gosh! I finally went to sleep. I haven't been able to sleep. I've worried so much about you, and you just don't know how much you're loved. You just don't.
Your mother had happy tears for a change.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was so happy. Like I can only pass my hour out each day, so it's kind of like where I'm kind of forced to, if I'm going to call it, like.
And Sigrid said, "Tell you I love you, I support you." Mark says, "I love you, I support you." Kim Kaufman, she has been an advocate for you. She says, "I love you, support you." There are so many people out there that just love you and support you, Chris. I can't even tell you how many, all around the world.
Thousands. Yeah,
So many people.
I've gotten a few letters from friends, so it's been good.
Bobby Sparks actually reached out to me too. Between JP and Bobby Sparks, they both reached out. They love you. They support you. Everybody, no matter what, it doesn't matter. But they love you, support you. Yeah. So that's what you know. And we know the truth.
I'm glad that people have friends out there. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
You got a lot of people that care about you out there, buddy.
Yes. So many. So many people. What are they? Is it anything good?
Oh yeah, it was lunch was great. It was
really?
Yeah, they had turkey.
Oh wow, cool. You have money on your commissary still?
Was it odd? I've used it all just because I didn't know how much I was gonna make up. I know I can't transfer it, and I knew that.
Yeah, use it all. We'll refill it when you get to the next place. Yeah, whenever you have to let us know what to do though.
I think it's even easier than this one because I think Amy was telling me that like you just kind of go like Colorado, U.S.C. Once you get where you're going, let us know what you can have in there so we can send it to you.
Yeah, because I wanna send you a book every month, and there's a lot I wanna do. So just let me know what we can do and what we can't do.
Okay, yeah, they'll tell me what I can have with me and what I can't. So.
I know, but will you fight?
I'm gonna stay strong. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, we know you're not going. We know that part, but will you fight this?
Well, but will you willing to talk to an attorney? If we get one set up.
If we can get one set up to come see you, will you talk to them?
I mean, I heard the talk to them. I'm probably not going to be here much longer.
I know that. But when you go to your next place,
I just want to see where I'm going to go. Maybe I'll go somewhere. I mean, I stay in Colorado. I might go somewhere else. I don't know. So it kind of depends on where they want to put me. So just think about it. Okay.
Will you think about it?
I just want to get through the last 2 weeks is pretty rough. So I just want to. Okay. Just gotta give him time. Gotta give him time.
I know.
He's gonna want time to get situated and get his mindset.
We love you though. We love you no matter what. I love you so much.
I know. I just want everybody's last memory to be happy ones. So everybody, Yeah.
They are. They are, honey. You don't have to worry about that. No, you don't. Everybody, we all have happy memories to look back on. We just
just stay strong.
Yes, we want you to stay strong. And I don't understand though why you didn't want to fight. I know. We know that. I know. We know that. I know.
I'm when you get where you're going, we'll come see you.
Yeah, we'll come see you. But if anyone comes to see you after you're settled, do not turn them away.
I know.
Okay? Promise? Okay.
The next question is, you watching the football today? No, on the latter side. I haven't been that many places where I talked to you last night, so I haven't seen the video.
Where are you at now?
I'm just staying moving around here. Keep moving around in there.
Oh, God.
So you have access on TV today? Oh, no, I haven't. Not since I talked to you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, well.
Oh. How did we get one? The door open. Sorry, it's Connor in a little bit. Damn ass.
A little bit, and then you got a boxer. They want to fight. Little wants to fight. You have no idea what he's doing.
Chris, me and Robert are buying a new house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're living over here by.
We figured it was bite the bullet and do it now. We just found the perfect house. It's built in 1978. It's an older house, but it has 4 acres and it's right behind the ballpark. And we figured, why not? You know, life is short.
There you go. That's awesome.
So we're gonna just put this house up and see what happens. And I just have faith. I have more faith now than I ever did before. You know, I think we've all found God, and you know, if there's any.
And your dad even got baptized.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you. You're the only one that could have done that. You brought us all closer to God. And that was because of you. All because of you.
It's a saving grace with all this, you know?
Yes, it is. It's a saving grace with all of this. Yeah. Is that he loves us and he forgives us and he loves us and, you know.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. There's a mountain to climb. Yep. And you got to climb that mountain.
And you'll get there.
Yep. And he will get you there.
Sure. Well, everything I've been reading, all that, everything you guys said. So I read something different. Maybe I read the same one every night, but I'll just pick a book and just read it. I don't think I've read it cover to cover twice yet, but I'm probably getting close. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, son. We love you so much.
Yes, we do. You are our hearts and prayers, and you're in our thoughts every day. Every day. Every day.
Every minute of the day.
When I get on the road to go see my patient, like, I listen to Christian contemporary music, and I think of you the entire time, the whole time. You know, and it's uplifting, and you brought us all so much closer to God. Yeah.
That's what I was hoping, like, everything would still kind of do faith and everything, and that I have, trust me.
Yes, I believe you have.
Good voice.
How good to hear your voice. You've made our Thanksgiving funny. Yes, and I'm sorry we're all talking over each other. I know. We just all want to talk to you. I know, because we haven't been able to talk to you in so long.
I know it. Being able to call you guys twice, 2 days in a row, feels a little different. Yeah.
I know. Yes. You call us every day. We'll have money on that card whenever you get to the next place. Just keep calling us because Monty put Papa. Your dad put $25 on the card. We had $50 on the card, but we don't know what happened to it. It's gone. Yeah. And you can call me anytime. I'll grab a card. Okay?
Same one, just like me. Good. Phone numbers forever. You got a memory on you, no doubt about it.
Yes, you do. You're not going to forget. No. We are here. We are here for you. And we will never, ever hurt you. No.
I'll always be here for you, son, no matter what. Thank you.
No matter what.
I know this is hard on you, so.
It is. I know it is. You do whatever you have to do to be safe.
What are you talking about yourself?
Okay. Okay. Well, I worry about that. I worry about that. Yes. I just worry about you, and I just want you to be okay.
Do whatever I have to do to stay safe.
I don't know, because a little bit it's just damn loud.
I didn't hear the last thing you said.
God.
I'll do whatever I have to do to stay safe. Trust me, I'll be okay.
Have you been okay so far?
Yeah, I've been alright.
Okay. Oh. Chris, I wish I could bottle you up and bring you back here. God, I wish I could bottle you up and bring you back here.
Me too. Turn back time.
Turn back time, but the unfortunate thing is we can't turn back time.
I know it.
And I wish we could.
Can't change it now.
No. But just know, no matter what, we love you. And that will never change. No, it will never change. Never change. And we are always here for you. Yeah, we are. Always.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, damn it.
Time goes by fast.
Damn it, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
As I told the Bears won the first game. The next game is the Redskins and Cowboys. And after that is the Saints and the Falcons. That'll be a blowout. Yeah, the last one probably will be the quarterback for Redskins got his leg broke last weekend, so he got back up quarterback in. So that's probably a 2-2.
Oh, Duke got beat last night.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, by Gonzaga.
Oh,
Duke got beat. Yes.
All right. Yeah.
And I don't know anything about sports, so I can't talk anything about sports.
It's okay.
Okay.
We love you so much.
You talk to us now for the last remaining. We just want to hear your voice. That's all.
All right. Well, it's gonna cut off like without any warning, but you know, I just want to say, guys, I love you and thanks for supporting. Thanks for being there.
We will be there.
Out there.
Thank you for using Security.
Love you.
Goodbye.